Welcome to Besties, Books, and Brews,
where we're not afraid to indulge in some steamy stories.
So whether you are naughty or nice or somewhere in between,
grab a glass of your favorite brew and settle it in with your favorite besties.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Besties, Books, and Brews. How's everyone's week going?
Oh, great.
Hey. Yeah, doing great. Happy to be here.
All right, everyone. So what's everyone drinking tonight? Alyssa? Got your White Claw.
White Claw Black Cherry, which I've actually never had before. And I got a matching water. Oh my God, look at that. How cute they look. Everything is pink.
Well, this week I'm down with the hydration station. This is just going to be water for me.
Yeah, I just got water too.
I've got a Vizzy, which is like a hard seltzer, and also a water. And mine's kind of similar to Alyssa's. So
I'm going to need one of these bottles so I can be like, hey, look at me. I'm sparkly. I'm cute.
What the heck is a Vizzy? I've never heard of this before.
Oh, Vizzies are amazing.
Yeah, it's a hard seltzer with antioxidants. I don't know. Makes drinking a little healthier. I don't know.
Just a little bit.
It tastes good.
Just a little bit.
Whatever we got to tell ourselves, you know?
Yeah.
It's antioxidant, so it's good for us. Since we're already killing our liver, we might as well just put some good stuff in our body.
Be here.
Yeah. I'm so excited for this week in this book. This is our very first book we're going to be reviewing, and it was super amazing. And I'm going to let Alyssa kick it off.
All right. So before we get started, we just want to point out, well, first of all, we're reviewing Does It Hurt by H.D Carlton. And we all just think it's important to note that this is a dark romance. H.D Carlton is pretty much known for dark romance. So trigger warnings are very important to note. I think probably, I'm just going to read a few off here, but we'll list them out as well. So there is suicide, graphic murder, graphic language, mentions of rape, CNC, dubcon. Those are just to name a few. So if those are triggering to you, just make sure that you kind of go into this knowing that.
Yeah.
So just to give a brief summary of this book, and then we'll kind of get into our ratings and reviews of it. So Sawyer is our main female character, and she is a fugitive. She's on the run from her family. She was in the United States on the run for 6 years and finally got up, I don't know if I would say the courage or just the ability to go out of the United States and ends up in Australia. She makes a living basically by sleeping with men and stealing their identities and then going by their name.
Not a bad gig. Not a bad gig.
If you don't get caught.
I mean, true. Well, in this case, I would like to get caught. Please catch me. I would like Enzo to catch me.
If it was by Enzo, yes. Yeah. So she's been pretty successful at it. Obviously, it's been 6 years, but when she makes it to Australia, she meets Enzo at a bar. And she immediately is so attracted to this man. I think she says something about how just looking at him will get her pregnant. And she was like, no, stay away from me. You could tell she did not want to take his identity, but at this point it was her survival or him. And she didn't really know him. She didn't care for him. So she ended up having a really hot as fuck one night stand with him. She went home to his house and ended up stealing his identity. And unfortunately for her, Enzo found out about it, and he was not the kind of man to take it lightly. So he plans I wouldn't even say he plans it. He just knows he wants revenge on her. And in order to do that, he takes her out on his boat, bites her lip, pushes her head in the water, and proceeds to fuck her while great white sharks are swimming up, ready to attack her. This had my heart palpitating because
my heart wasn't the only thing palpitating during this time. Just want to mention that.
I mean, my only problem with the scene was that he didn't let her come. I'm like, I mean, come on. There had to have been.
Listen, the way this scene was written, I was perfectly A-okay with that at that time. I was actually questioning myself and whether I should go to therapy because I'm like, why? Why is this so attractive to me? Why do I like this? Do I like being degraded? I don't know.
Wrong with that.
Obviously not, because this was a turn on.
All right. Well, after this scene happens, like immediately after, Enzo realizes that there is a huge storm heading their way. So, in his haste to exact revenge on her, he did not check the weather, which he always does before going out on his boat. And this storm just completely wrecks their boat. From here, they end up on an island with a creepy, decrepit lighthouse with a matching creepy, decrepit caretaker. Things just kind of go south from here. I don't want to give any like spoilers in our summary review, so I think kind of the summary should stop there, because from that point, I think if we tell anything that happens once they end up at the lighthouse, it's gonna kind of like spoil
I
stuff.
agree.
What do you guys think?
I agree. I think that was a good enough summary, to get people into the mix.
Let's do out of 5 stars and out of 5 chili peppers for spice.
So are we doing spice first, or we're just doing
both? 10 for both?
For both.
How about you,
I give
Lori?
it 5 spice and 5. You know what? I'll give it, because I don't want to give it a perfect score. So 4.5 for the rating for the the actual book, but the spice, that was top notch, chef kiss.
So for the rating, I would give it a 4, but only because I'm very it takes a lot for a book to get that 5 star. So a 4 is actually really, really, really good. For spice though, I would say 5. There was definitely quite a bit of
and it started early. I like that it started early. We didn't have to wait until midpoint of the book to get it in. It started so early. I was like, thank you, Lord. This is what I'm talking about.
I like that it started early, and I like that it was fairly consistent.
Right.
I'm there wasn't too much of a gap in between time. So I'm good.
Yeah.
So because I'm a creeper weirdo when I'm reading, I like to know when the spice happens, and I tab it in my book. So just so you guys know, if anybody's curious, the spice starts on page 32. So this is what we mean by it starts out super quick. I think there were only 403 pages in this book, and there were 9 total spicy scenes. So there was a good, great mix of spice and I think plot,
right?
Which is really
I agree.
hard to achieve when it's that spicy, but there was good plot with it too.
Yeah,
I have to agree
That's
with that.
the ultimate, man.
Yeah,
exactly. Yep.
Yeah, it wasn't it was just sex, and then no plot. It was sex, plot, sex. I literally could not put this book down. I was just enthralled in it, and the characters, that's another thing. I felt the character development was amazing. I actually loved Sawyer. I loved her quirkiness, but then I loved Enzo and his hot, cold, but super fucking hot, temperament. I love them. And then not only that, but the creeper, because I'm not even gonna lie, didn't even know what the fuck his name was. The creeper, he really creeped me out. Reading it, I was just if I ever came in contact with somebody like that, just gave me those chills.
Nikki texted me before. She goes, "Who's Sylvester?" I'm assuming you saw the Fuck, Marry, Kill names, and you're like, "Who the heck?"
Yeah.
She goes, "Was it the bartender?" I'm like, "Nikki, he was the creepy old guy during the whole."
I text Lori too, and I was like, "Who the fuck is this Sylvester person?" Because, and I'm like, "Oh, I just called him the creepy old dude with one leg," because he was just, I didn't care for him. So, and I told Alyssa, a lot of the times when there's a character I don't care for, I don't care for learning their names. I know everybody else in the book. Him, you were just a creeper with one leg. That was it.
Yeah, I can understand that. I gave it 5 stars and 5 spice. I am kind of hand out my 5 stars if I really like a book. I haven't given a book a 5 stars in a long time. So this one was really good for me. I really like the writing, and like I said, when there's a good mix of plot and smut in it, that's the ultimate level for me when I'm reading.
Yeah.
I have to agree.
Mm-hmm.
I have to agree. And I think, like I said, there was, in my opinion, I didn't feel like there was a dull moment in this book. It was just one thing after the other, after the other, after the other. Sometimes you read a book and it's it's high, then it's super low, then it's back high, and it's oh my God, can we get back on track here? Where's the sex? And then it's like at the end of the fucking book. Like, no, this book was like back to back to back with just things happening. Like, I could not put it down at all.
I agree. Yeah. Like every time like nighttime came around and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna sleep after the next chapter. I'm gonna sleep after the next chapter. But I'm like, no, but wait, I gotta see what happens. And next thing I know, it's 1 o'clock in the morning and
Well, I picked up the book and the next thing I knew I was done. I was like, that was pretty fast. So,
And Nikki claims she's not a fast reader.
I'm not a fast reader, but this book was really, really good and I could not put it down.
She finished it in 1 day. I mean, that's the definition of a fast reader to me.
Exactly.
I don't know what your definition is. Like, you expect to be like flipping through books like a vampire or something.
I was expecting to finish it in a day. So, no, but I couldn't put that book down for nothing. I think the first day I read it, so I started reading at like 6 o'clock, maybe in the evening. I didn't put that book down until like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I was already, I think, like midway. So then when I woke up the next day, I was like, okay, time to read again. Gotta finish this. Melissa was like, you're what? Halfway done?
And I did not read it, but based on what everyone's saying, my rating would be maybe a 4.5 and 5 spice. So
Sarah's here for moral support today. And when we show the picture, because I found an uncensored picture of Enzo and Sawyer. So I'm going to send it to you guys so I can get like a live reaction on it. Nikki's already seen it.
Yeah. Fan art?
Yes.
We'll put it here somewhere.
Yes. Well, I'm going to text it to you guys so you can get your live review and then we'll put it into the video so everybody can see it.
Okay.
And Nikki, I want your opinion on this because I know you've read Satan's Affair. So like, I'm not going to compare the two books, but did you think Sawyer was kind of like Sibby?
She was so much like Sibby. Like, right? I can see a lot of the similarities in them, but I could also see their differences. But their demeanor and their quirkiness, it was like spot on with each other.
Right.
I can definitely tell, one, that it was the same writer. Not that they're like the same person, but they're like the same personality traits.
Right.
I loved it. I love both.
Sawyer had such a fun personality. Like, so when I was tabbing my books, my 3 tabs were spice, important, ? And the other one was made me laugh, which is like when you're reading a dark romance, you don't think made me laugh is going to be one of the tabs.
A lot of her little like quick one-liners were hilarious. Mm-hmm. She was like, I feel like I would, like, if I knew her in person, she would be like one of us. She would be like in here with her, how she was. She was amazing. I loved her.
Yeah. Agreed.
So I found this quote by H.D. Carlton about Enzo and Sawyer, which I thought was absolutely perfect to describe their relationship. She said, they are thunderstorm and lightning. Enzo is dark, angry, and loud, and Sawyer is bright, destructive, secretly dangerous. And I felt that was like perfect for them.
That's actually good.
You know what I loved about them? That they were both broken. They were both fucked in the head. But both of them together were like perfect.
That's why they made such a good destructive couple.
Sure did. They destructed a lot.
By the end, yes. So, how do you guys feel about doing favorite quotes and favorite spicy scene?
Ooh, okay, we can do that.
I actually have one that like coincides, favorite quote and favorite spicy scene. They go together. So I have 2 favorite spicy scenes. The first one I'm going to give with my favorite quote from it. So there was a scene where Sawyer was having a dream that Enzo was about to eat her out, and so he had, I just laughed and this is not funny. He had like night terrors because of things that happened in the past, but because they were sharing a bed, he would wake her up by like slapping her in the face sometimes. So he woke her up from this dream and she was so pissed off at him because he had woken her up, but then it ended up leading to him actually making this dream happen. And in this scene, while he's fucking her, he also puts his finger inside of her to rub her G-spot and make her squirt, which, by the way, this man makes her squirt
all the
every time they have sex.
All the time.
So
impressive.
Right? So this quote from that scene, I was like fanning myself towards the end, he says, just imagine I'm like a hot guy reading this because this is going to sound so unsexy coming from me. He says, you're going to come for me, Bella, and you're going to fucking paint me in it. If I'm not covered, then I will make you do it again until there's nothing left of you.
Okay. Good one.
Oh, yeah.
I'm here for it.
Right?
Yeah.
And then my other favorite spicy scene was when they broke the table.
Oh, that was a good one. That was a really good scene.
Yeah. I had, what was it? One other favorite quote. The first time they have sex, he takes her top off and says, beautiful. And she says, thank you. I grew them myself. I couldn't stop laughing at that.
Yeah, because that I would definitely say some shit like that. I have before, so yeah. So
how do you say that with a straight face?
I just can.
It's a superpower.
I guess it's a sarcastic asshole in me. That's what it is. So my two favorite scenes were when they were locked in Sylvester's closet and she had to be quiet. So he basically had her in the closet. Sylvester came in and he went to sleep and he was in there holding her close against him and he started to finger her. And next thing you know, he's basically telling her, like, you have to be quiet. So she had to suffer. Well, not necessarily suffer because she didn't suffer at all. Until like afterward, he was basically like being a douchebag.
But he did it because she was having a panic attack. So he was like being a dick, but also being sweet.
Right. But at the end of it, he was being a dick.
Yeah.
But that was And then I guess my second one is going to have to be the revenge fuck on the boat. I don't know why, but that was just like something I've never read. Something like, I don't think I've ever seen anything like this. And he was just like literally like not only drowning her, but like pounding the shit out of her while he was doing it with sharks in the water next to her face. Like, who does that? And why is it so fucking hot? Why? I don't know, but that was my
we don't need to justify it.
Right.
It just is.
It was totally hot. So one of my favorite quotes was, Enzo says, my name and God's don't belong in the same sentence, Bella, he rasped, in his voice as tough as the rock below us. One is holy and the other is depraved.
Nikki sounded so much hotter when she read it.
It's because I have that masculine energy.
Oh, say it again.
Divine masculine. And then let's see, what was my second quote that I want? So most of my quotes are all his. Oh, this one. This was one I found it to be one of my favorites, and it was also funny. She says, why did you get to be God's favorite? He stares down at me with a savage expression. You can ask him yourself when I take you to see him. I love it.
A good one.
Yes. Also, anything he said in Italian.
My God. I have all of those. All of those are highlighted. Every single one of them. I mean, I kind of understood a little bit because it's kind of similar to, Spanish, kind of in a kind of sort of way. So I was like, I understood most of the words, but I went and like translated them. I was like, I love you. I love you. This is my new book boyfriend. He is everything.
I was constantly like, so the back of the book has like all the translations. So I'm constantly like, what's he saying?
Aren't you Italian? Or half Italian?
I mean, like, but, okay, so I'm Sicilian, but it's not like I grew up in Sicily. Like, I was born and raised in Florida.
Got you. Okay. All right. I guess I'll let you slide on that one.
I know, like, very few Italian phrases.
So what about you, Lori? What are your favorites?
So, steamy scenes. I love the closet scene as well. Like, I don't know. There's something about being quiet, and as a parent where you have to be quiet most times, it's just so much hotter.
And that close proximity.
Yes. And to be honest, I really love when they were on the beach where she actually started taking control.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So that was like super hot as well. Like, yes. I loved it. But then I mean, okay, I'm gonna add another one in there.
Because they were all great.
They
Don't
really
get me
were.
wrong. They're all so like
Yeah.
picking two is hard because they were all fucking amazing.
Yeah, I mean, technically we were supposed to pick one, but we all picked two at least.
I actually love the scene at the end when they're in the shark cage.
Yes.
And
It was, I'm telling you, I don't know what it was about them being in the water or him drowning her and then bringing her head back up so she can get a little bit of air and sticking her head back in there and just pounding her. And it was just fucking fantastic. It was so hot. It was so hot.
Was anybody else okay, the last scene where they're in the shark cage, so my mind is very literal and I'm like picturing everything as it's happening, right?
I'm the same.
So with the end scene, I'm like, are they under the water the whole time? But he's like talking to her. So I'm like, are they half out of the water?
I think they're half out. So they're
okay.
I think they're like on top. So the top of the cage is outside the water, and I think they're hanging on like the top.
Right.
Okay.
So her head is still like they're still going into the cage, but they're not fully submerged in the cage. So they're on top of the cage inside of it.
See, I imagine
that's what I thought it was.
Like she's holding on to the top.
Right.
She's holding on to the top, and then her body is in the water, in the cage, and he's holding on to the top as well.
Okay, yeah. All right, that's more.
Yeah, because the way shark cages work is that they have the top of the cage and just kind of like a little opening in the middle of it. So there's plenty of spots to just kind of hold on like monkeys.
Yeah.
So I guess he was just like dunking her head while they were like, so they're both up here and he's just like, okay, bloop, stick your head in the water. It was hot.
when it comes to actual quotes, I actually gravitate more towards like the romantic stuff. So like my favorite quote of his was, "There's a place in the ocean so deep where not a single point of light penetrates through it. And for so long, I've been trapped there, unable to breathe. When I met you, you lifted me out of that darkness, and it was the first time I came up for air. You've become my oxygen, Bella Ladra, and I can no longer breathe without you."
That was one of the best quotes in there.
If my future man doesn't say that, then
this is what I'm saying. Like, if you don't fucking try to drown me while you're like giving me back shots, I don't want it. I don't want it.
And not telling me that I'm your oxygen. Yeah.
Right. Like, I need you to tell me you need me to breathe. Okay? Like, let's get it together. So now, let's talk about how he apparently was like endowed individual, apparently. Like, just apparently he couldn't fit in her. Like, it was like she was hurting all the time. But then again, maybe she was little.
I mean, you ever read a book with a small dicked man? Because I don't.
I haven't. But the way that he was described, if it was like he was freaking running around with a fucking elephant dick, like, like literally a baby toddler's leg in his pants.
I mean, to be fair, we also don't know what she's had in the past, so anything could be bigger if she's only had like something that's 3 inches.
True.
That is true. I mean, based on her past experiences, and this goes back to the trigger warning, she had a really traumatic past. So I think like a man like Enzo is probably so different from anything she had ever experienced. And this is like the first man that she actually, I think she had said, gained pleasure from having sex with them. So I think everything about Enzo was just like totally different for her.
Right. I actually, when she met him at the bar, it was funny when she was like, yeah, don't look at me, don't talk to me because you're going to get me pregnant. Because it's like, I can so see that happening if there was ever like a really like hot guy, like, do me a favor and stay over there because I just got pregnant. Like, thank you. No thanks. That whole scene was just hilarious.
Yeah.
It was so funny.
That would normally probably scare away a guy pretty quick.
Right. But like I said, they were both broken. So it was like 2 broken people fitting together and making this beautiful puzzle.
I think he said that was like one of the things that kind of attracted him to her. Like why he even spoke to her in the bar in the first place. Fell for her nonsense.
That's what it was. That's exactly what it was.
While we were talking about the scene, I'm going to text you guys the picture, the uncensored picture.
Oh, yeah. I've seen this picture.
That is very nice. I see what you guys are saying.
So I am in H.D Carlton's reader group. And I think she had given this picture out as like she was doing a live on TikTok or something like that, and I didn't join that one, so I didn't see how people were able to get it. But she was like mailing them out, and then people started posting it all in her reader group, and I'm like, okay, I really need to read this book. But like everybody was posting censored versions of it, so I was like scrolling Twitter the other day, and I finally saw somebody.
Gotta love
Oh
Twitter.
no, it wasn't Twitter. It was her
Reddit.
Discord.
Oh, her
She
Discord.
has a Discord group, and somebody asked for the uncensored version of it, and I saw it in there. So I was like, all right, I gotta share this with everybody. But
yeah,
that was the whole reason that made me really want to read this book.
Yeah.
I can see why.
Yeah. I like that uncensored
If
version.
I would have seen that picture, I definitely would have been like, I need this book right now.
Yep.
That's why I posed it to everybody.
Shared the love. Shared the love. So now let's do, what did we have? The marry, fuck, kill.
Okay, so we're gonna do it with Enzo, Sawyer, and Nikki's favorite, Sylvester.
The creepy one-legged bastard. So I'm definitely marrying Enzo, because if I'm marrying him, that means I get to fuck him whenever I want. I'm fucking Sawyer because there is no way I'm fucking that creepy old fucking one-legged man. So he gets to die. We will kill him together.
Okay.
Together.
Mine are actually the same, because ain't no way in hell I'm fucking or marrying Sylvester. Enzo, I want to marry him because then I can just continue to fuck him forever. And Sawyer was fuck for me because Enzo kept calling her a siren, which I mean, feel like she'd be pretty good at fucking.
I agree. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with the both of you. I mean,
all across the board.
All across the board. Yeah, absolutely. Like, I mean, if anybody says otherwise, especially with Sylvester, then
you're sick.
What are they thinking? Yeah,
you're sick. If I thought I was twisted, no, you're twisted. There's no way. There is no way.
Sarah, you agree from what you've heard?
I agree, and I heard from Lori that Sawyer took charge really nice, so it sounds like a great fuck.
Oh, she did.
Yes,
she did. And there was also a part in the book where he basically he became her submissive in a way, you can say. So he basically was like, whatever you want me to do to you, whatever you want me to do for you, I will do. That was amazing.
Yeah, she clearly has the skills.
She does, because she's a siren. So we're
fucking. That golden vagina.
We're fucking.
Exactly.
Sounds great.
Taking one for the team.
All right. So next up, we're going to go through a few plot-related questions. We'll just kind of go around and answer them, each of us. We kind of found these online, so bear with us here. So the first one is there anything in this book that you could have lived without? So like a scene or something that they did, anything that you just like didn't particularly like. I love this book. I loved everything about this book, but the only thing I could have lived without, this is going to sound so silly, but every time Enzo would fucking like grab her, I like, if somebody did that to me, I would have bit their fucking fingers off. Like, I understand that it was kind of like a Dom thing and it was their thing. Sawyer liked it. For me though, it was weird. Yeah. So yeah, that was the only thing that I was like meh about.
I think I could have lived without him saying Bella so much, or what was that Bella
Bella Ladra?
That thing. I mean, after a while, it started getting really annoying, like the repetitiveness of it. Okay, we get it. She was a beautiful thief. She stole your shit. We got it. Cool. All right. But yeah,
I liked that.
I mean, to an extent, it was okay. And then it just started getting annoying. But I loved him talking Italian throughout the book. Just that one line, it just got kind of annoying after a while. It was just like, all right, we got it. Cool.
He had to keep reminding her so she didn't forget her place.
And then he can fuck her and, remind her about that too.
There you go.
But I think that was my little thing there.
I think for me, it was at some point they just lost all intelligence for like logical things. And I'm just like, they really went hard at it's a ghost and refused to believe anything else, like any possible explanation whatsoever. Right. And I'm just like,
especially after she saw the pictures of Trinity and Casey, right? Yeah, Trinity and Casey, that she found their pictures like right before they got locked in the closet. I was just like, you still think it's a ghost?
I feel like Enzo never believed that it was a ghost because he was suspicious of Sylvester.
He was suspicious. He was suspicious, but it's like I would be like every day, every hour of the day, trying to figure out what the hell it is. Whereas they're like, right, it's the ghost.
They're just
I'm gonna go back to
swinging their chains around up there.
Especially the point where when they were laying there and the ghost started like thumping on the ground, and instead of doing it, they like ran out of the house. No, like a ghost doesn't do that.
There's a lot of shit that ghost didn't do.
When it was literally outside their door.
Right.
I'm like, dude.
And that was like the first time they got locked in there. I was like, seriously, just open the fucking door. Break it down. Because if you even think that that's a fucking ghost, like, come on.
So I know that H.D Carlton likes, like, for Haunting and Hunting Adeline, there was like a ghost aspect to it. So I'm like, okay, maybe she's like putting it in this one too. But then I don't know, like pretty early in the book, I'm like, nah, it's gotta be the mom or the daughter or both or something.
That's what I just thought it was all of them. I was like, he has them like locked away somewhere and they're just roaming the house after fucking 9 p.m. because that's when he locks them up. So the ghost can run free. And then I was like, there's no way. I was like, this has to be his family. Like, he got them locked up somewhere.
Speaking of which, so like another part of the summary for everybody that has not read this book, there was, when they first get in onto this island, one of Sylvester's rules was that they had to be in their bedroom by 9 p.m. They were going to be locked inside of that bedroom, and they were not allowed back out to leave the bedroom until like 7 the next morning.
And there was not even
to use the bathroom.
There was a shit bucket inside of their room.
So, like, if this happened to you guys, the fuck would you do in that scenario? Because I know
I'd kick his one leg from underneath him. The fuck? That was another thing. I'm like, this old ass motherfucker, and you people, there's two of you, two abled bodies. This bastard is over here hip hopping on his one fucking peg leg. You telling me you can't kick it off? You can't kick him? Kick his ass down. The fuck you talking about? Yeah, no.
I agree.
No, I agree. Not.
Yeah,
they could have easily taken him.
Oh, absolutely. He didn't have his gun on him all the time. Just beat the shit out of him. Kick his leg from underneath him. I mean, seriously, the bad one, just kick it right on the side. Take it off. Take it off.
If you hold me up from using the bathroom, we're gonna have problems.
If you're locking me in some fucking space that I've never been in, we're gonna have a problem. Like, first of all, you're not my daddy, and two, you're over here at 9 o'clock. You're trying to lock me in somewhere. Yeah, no, it's not happening. It's not happening. Your leg is coming off. That's all.
She's just gonna like steal it in the middle of the night. You'll see Nikki like running away with it. Like,
try to chase me now, bastard. Yeah, no, his leg would have been gone.
Yeah, that leg would have been kindling.
Right. Throw some fucking termites on it. The fuck? I think even when they were locked in the closet and he fell asleep, that was your chance to take him out. That was your chance to take him out. Listen, all that other stuff, yeah, you could have kept it on for later. But that was your time. You both could have just right there, just took him out.
Yeah, that was definitely not well planned. There were many missed opportunities. So did you guys think this book was more plot or character driven?
I think it had an equal opportunity.
I think it was so equal. Too. I think it was both because I didn't think it was more one-sided than the other. I felt like it was equally distributed.
I think in the beginning it was more character driven, and then a lot of it was driven by circumstances. So like, I mean, from the crash on, and then they were kind of just like carried on by what we're saying, where they kind of like didn't do anything with Sylvester. He kind of like navigated everything that happened to them up until the end.
Yeah.
So, but I agree. It's both. So, I think we're gonna all agree on this one. Did you think there was strong character development?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%. Because, and you know, it's not just like the main characters, but like her brother, I hated him from like as early on. Like as soon as she started talking about him, I just got like this horrible feeling about him. And I was just like, I don't like him. I don't like him. And it's just like the way that she wrote about him, the way she wrote about Sylvester, it was just like, yeah, no, don't like either one of them. They're
Yeah.
both like horrible human beings.
But there was, I think, for both Sawyer and Enzo, a ton of development through the book. Like both, like we talked about, start out very broken, and I think by the end they both are still a little bit broken, but like their pieces come together to help heal each other.
Right. But it's also because they spent all that time together, and then once all those barriers were broken and everything was basically literally brought to the table, you'll understand when you read the book. It was like everything started to fall into place, and it's like, okay, so I kind of understand you a little more. This is going on, so now we can come together and do what we got to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely agree.
And that shared trauma is pretty much an unbreakable bond that they'll have for the rest of their life.
Absolutely. On so many levels.
Do we think the characters are lovable?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Especially Enzo. 100%. I can love him in my own special way. But I think, like I said before, Sawyer, like her personality, like if she was actually somebody that I've met like out, if I ever left my house, I think she would be somebody that I would befriend. Like I love just her like the way she was, her personality, her quirkiness, her thinking,
wit,
and her wit. Yeah. She's just like one of those people like I could definitely get along with.
I love how so one of the times Enzo asked Sawyer like what makes her happy. And her answer was like so wholesome. One of the answers was Senile Susie, which was her Volkswagen. And then the other one was Simon, which was like this old guy that she met at a bus stop who gave her a fuck you tattoo sitting at the bus stop. And this guy is like
love Simon.
Only friend in Australia. And these were like the two things that made her happy. And then like when they finally get back and she just like sees Simon and rushes up to him at the bus stop, it was just like hit me right in the feels. Obviously there were two old guys in this book, which were like so very different. We had Simon, who was this like really sweet guy who was like just dropping tidbits of wisdom on her at the bus stop. And then we got Sylvester, which by the way, both start with an S. Intentional? I don't know.
Could be, possibly.
But like both are these older guys, and when Sawyer meets Simon the first time, she was saying how he was like kind of like home, like he felt really safe right away.
Right.
And then she got like both her and Enzo got the total opposite feeling from Sylvester when they first met him. So like
as soon as they met him,
they both have a good judge of character, but it was just like the parallels between the two. I just think, I don't know, just kind of funny that she had these two like older guys in her life that ended up one being really good, one being really bad. So one of the questions we have is, was there a diverse cast of characters? I'd say no.
So. No.
No. I mean, there's only three really like main characters. Yeah. Like the story centers around the three main characters. And there are like the side, you got Casey, Simon, Troy, who is Enzo's like
best friend,
partner. Yeah. But yeah, there's not like a ton of characters. Isn't. But you do get a lot from the characters that
you do.
All right. So were the flaws of the characters a main focus?
Basically. The whole book.
That's all it was,
The whole book.
That's all it was.
Their fucked up lives, how fucked up they were individually and together. Yep. It was the main focus of the book.
Yep.
100%.
I think without their flaws.
Without their flaws, this book would be nothing.
Yeah. Exactly. The story would have had no ground. Like it just wouldn't have gone where it needed to go. But
absolutely not.
They were 100% friends.
They needed those character flaws to make this book work.
I have two random things I had written down to talk to you guys about. So one of them, Sawyer's obsession with her pinky toe.
Yes, I want to know, what is it with her fucking pinky toe? Is it like smaller than? Is it just pretty? Like, is there like a fucking birthmark on it? What is it with the pinky toe that she's like so obsessed with?
I honestly don't think it's anything. I just think it's like that's just her personality where she focuses on like the most
like my pinky toe. It's like the cutest thing ever, don't you think? Like just putting her pinky toe in people's faces, like, here, look at it.
Even when she was making Enzo apologize and she's like, I don't forgive you. You have to kiss my favorite toe first. I I was like,
what?
okay, she really likes her toe.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
even when I think one of the times she was talking to Simon too, she said something about
yeah,
her toe.
she did.
And she was like, look at it, it's really
It's
cute.
really-
and he
yep.
was like, yeah, it is.
He's like,
All
sure, okay.
The other thing was, and this was just totally random, how freaking awesome was Enzo's Shark Research Center, Vors?
Okay, so anybody that knows me knows I'm obsessed with fucking sharks. So just the fact that sharks were even mentioned in this book, and he was like this shark philosopher, just studying sharks, and then he was fucking people in Shark Tank. I was like, hell yeah, I'm all for that. That made the book even 1,000 times better.
Yes.
It was like, I mean, out of all the professions anyone could possibly write about, sharks, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I just felt like Enzo and the sharks were one of the same, and I loved it.
I loved his like love for sea life and protect, even when they were on the island and they pretty much only had fish to eat for sustenance because Sylvester was telling them he didn't have enough food to feed all of them. Enzo was really reluctant to
He was very upset.
Yeah, so the whole thing with him having the profession of like basically studying sharks was a really cool aspect to this book. There were times that like I forgot that about him because the story kind of got away from it, but then every time I was reminded of it, I was like, oh yeah, I love that part of him.
He's really intelligent, and I love that. I love this very just and I love the fact when they were in the cave and she's like, oh look, it's so pretty. He's like, yeah, those are like, don't open your mouth.
He was very intelligent. So it wasn't just that he was like this fine ass man who gave great sex. He was really smart. So yeah, that made him even more
sexier?
Attractive. Yes.
Like
yes.
Intelligence is so sexy. I love it.
I'm about to just become a marine biologist like I want it to be, and maybe I can find one in the field.
I mean, when you watch Shark Week, there's some quite attractive men that are doing that research.
Well, guess what? I think I need to go back to school and become a marine biologist.
But like, how cool! So, like, when they were explaining Boars at the end, how it was like underwater, completely clear walls, and they could basically just see sea life. He was like, "There's computers set up with just the clear walls." Like, I want to go see that. Seriously. Is there anything like that exists?
I wish. I hope so. Maybe in Australia. Maybe we need to go to Australia and find this place. Maybe it's real.
To go to Australia. Except for their bugs. No, thank you.
There's a movie called, I think it was Deep Blue Sea.
Ooh, yeah.
Where it has that setup where it's underwater and then their computer room is like all clear, and then the sharks like take revenge. But whatever,
Well, that's because we're fucking with them.
That movie had my heart going.
So Sarah, what do you think about what we have spoken about with this amazing book?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds great. You guys obviously aren't talking about the triggers that made it dark, so it sounds really appealing.
So there were times where, like, I kind of know what you will and will not read, and there were times where I was like, you actually may. Normally, my hard stop is non-consensual sex, which has happened in H.D Carlton's book, so I was a little nervous for it. But there was actually none in this book, so you may. There was some graphic murder.
The non-consensual was kind of like a borderline because
that's why it's dubcon, right? So like, but it's
like she wanted it,
you fucking liked it,
didn't want it. You know how like sometimes you're like laying next to your man and it's like you like rubbing your ass on him and then he starts and you're like, stop, I don't stop. Okay. Yeah, so it was kind of like that.
I think that sounds a little more playful than what it was.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm being playful about it, but that's kind of like what it was. She was like, she wanted it, but didn't want it, but really wanted it.
She wanted it up until the point where he shoved her head in the water and there were sharks coming at her face.
Obviously,
but up
she
until
still
that,
wanted
she
it
wanted
because
it.
she was wet like the ocean.
Well, I think up until a point.
I think it was more like her body wanted it, even if her mind didn't at the moment, and her body would just take over.
Sarah, like, I think I think you'd like the book. There are definitely some like rough topics. There is stuff that happens with her brother, but like it never actually gets to the point where you like see anything that does happen. It's just kind of implied. And like I said, there is like a graphic violence in some points, but like it was a good book. I don't think it was like too dark for you to read. I think eventually you might like it.
I mean, I like mystery novels, and they always have murders, and you know.
Well, this was kind of like a mystery, the way that it turned out. So, I mean, you actually could like this.
Yes. And I mean, from a lot of the reviews that I saw about Does It Hurt, I was like, I didn't see it to be as dark as some people mentioned it. Okay, so what I do want to point out is that the name of the book, Does It Hurt, pertains to his dick, pretty much. Pretty much is about his dick. That's what it is. So just go and just
ask her that.
Yeah. Just going with that.
That's funny that you say that, because my husband saw me reading it. He's like, so what hurts? And I look at him, I'm like, his dick. And he's like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, so I found that to be very interesting, because there was that one point in the book that he basically tells her, he's like, does it hurt? And I'm like, well, there you go. There you go.
I think also, I know we're being funny here, it is about his dick, but also like you know how he says the line that his love would hurt, like basically like he loves her, but it's going to be a love that hurts. Like he's always going to be the one that will cause her pain, but like in a good way.
In a good sexual way. He's gonna break her.
All right, well, we hope you enjoyed our review of Does It Hurt by H.D Carlton, and next week we will be talking Book Boyfriend.
Bye!